Can you do me a favor? Can you look in the camera and say like, comment, and subscribe?
Like, comment.
Like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. So to my grandson's channel. Say like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel.
Like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel.
You heard it.
If there's options for you to explore, go do it. I think if the idea that things will pop up and opportunities will show up for you, and if you kind of gravitate toward that, maybe that's more of the follow the warmth kind of thing. But if you are able to embrace those new opportunities, it just broadens your mind and it can get you a lot of experience. There was a specific project that I did in the fall of last year. And at first I was like, oh gosh, I was voluntold to do this and we'll see. But I learned so much in that short amount of time that I was like, was really great. It did prove to me to be this really great experience to help with a lot of skills that I had not had, or even the opportunity to stretch. So that was really helpful. I think, yeah, just leaning into the learner mentality has been really helpful.
I'm really happy with where I'm at and the steps that I took. I like to live by the quote of Cormac McCarthy. You never know what worse luck your bad luck has saved you from. That quote is really important.
I like that.
You've known me long enough to know that it's like self-induced bad luck. I get myself into situations that require a lot of navigating. And I think it's important for everybody when they feel like they're in a series of bad luck to just consider that, you never know what worse luck it's saving you from. And then, like, in that same thought, advice that I would have is one thing I wish I did is to find a mentor. I think at an earlier age, or I've really never found a mentor. Now, my brother's a financial advisor, so he's been very helpful to me. But if you don't go into the field of business and finance, then you are left on your own to navigate the world of business and finance. And there is nothing worse than learning the hard way, I think. There have just been so many situations where I've had to learn the hard way.
Yeah. So, we still have deadlines we got to meet. We still have service calls we got to do for existing customers or, new customers, because at the end of the day, the service calls, that's the bread and butter. That's what's going to keep the door open for us. These big jobs, the rough end jobs, they're few and far between. So we can't put all our energy into the big ones. What we set out to do was to start a service company that is affordable.
Can you look at the camera and say like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel?
What could I say?
Say like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson's channel. Can you say that?
I can hear you.
Like, comment, and subscribe to my grandson.
Subscribe to my grandson channel.
Thank you very much.
I didn't embrace my difference enough when I was younger. I was trying to conform with what the norm was, depending on where I was working, what I was doing. And so it's only, as I got older, I realized that actually my difference in how I think and how I express things actually is valuable. A herd mentality is not helpful at all, in any context. And so, embrace your difference and have the confidence for it. And if people look different or speak differently to you, it doesn't matter. You're there for a reason. Trust that. Someone put you in there for a reason. Trust that, and don't doubt yourself, and embrace your differences.
And now, especially being in this role and as a fundraiser, I said I'm kind of like a salesperson. Never thought that I would go into that path because of how shy I used to be. Yeah. But it's something that I have gotten really comfortable with over the years. I mean, for me to go up to a complete stranger and ask them to make a donation to Breakthrough T1D or to our silent auction, I don't even think twice about anymore. And I never would have thought I'd be in this situation if you would have told me that 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, we've switched roles. You asked me to do it one time, and I felt so uncomfortable going up to the person in the front.
It's not a big deal. And again, if you miss 100% of the shots,
You're
if
right.
you don't ask, the answer is always no.
That's right.
So I've gotten very comfortable with that. And then I think another piece of advice I have, and this is something that you have really helped me with, because I am, even though I wouldn't say I'm shy anymore, I'm still a more quiet, reserved person. And I don't like conflict. I have a really difficult time with conflict. So in the past, I've always tended to just turn away from it and not address things. And when you don't address things, they become a bigger issue. So I think learning how to do that is definitely something I wish I had earlier on, because if either there's a misunderstanding between whether it's you and a coworker or a volunteer or something, if you don't address it in that moment, it can turn into something bigger. And there have been a lot of times where maybe I'll leave a call and say, I just don't feel right about how that ended. And I'll call them back and we'll talk about it. And then we have a much better understanding. Mm-hmm. And so I think getting everything out there, and I'm still working on it. I am absolutely still working on it. Is a big piece of advice that I wish I would have been better at.
So I think occupational health nursing, when people think of any kind of nursing or occ health nursing, they think of that hands-on patient care, right? Oh, I hurt my back. I go see them. They gave me my flu shot. Maybe they taught this class on nutrition. That's what they think of. What they don't understand is in occupational health nursing, you really have to have a good understanding of the business. And they don't realize that piece of it. In order to help the individuals and the population, you need to know all the different markets. If you want to start a program, you need to know how does that tie into the business's strategy and objectives. And you need resources for that program. So you need to know, who do I talk to and how do I position this to get the resources that I need to do for this program? So I think people don't realize that occupational health nurses really do need to understand the business and the market. So I think that would be the most surprising thing about occupational health nursing that people don't realize, is that you have to have some business savvy and knowledge.
Can you to look at the camera and say, like, comment, and subscribe to If I Knew Then?
Like, comment, and subscribe to If I Knew Then.
Thank you very much.